That ring, he hadn't seen one like it since the Vietnam War. Logan, a young Marine veteran, was having a tough time finding steady work after returning home. The old Marine Corps ring, once worn by his grandfather, was his only tangible connection to the man. He slipped it on before a job interview, not realizing that small gesture would end up changing everything. Logan's nerves were on edge as he got ready for the interview at a security firm across town. It wasn't just about employment. It was about rebuilding his life and finding stability after the unpredictable rhythm of military service. As he turned the ring around his finger, a wave of emotion hit him. That ring had once belonged to his grandfather, and wearing it gave him a strange mix of comfort and strength. Though Logan had never met him, his grandfather was killed in Vietnam before Logan was born. The ring offered a connection, something grounding. It reminded him of the man he was striving to honor. Logan's father had always wanted to serve too, but was held back by health problems, something that made Logan's service feel even more meaningful. That morning, as he stepped outside, the sky above was a blanket of gray. Logan paused, glancing upward as if searching for a sign. The weight of his family's history rested on his shoulders, but so did his resolve. He was determined not just to follow their path, but to forge a future they could all be proud of. The world felt a little less hopeful after 4 years of military service and struggling to find his place back home. Instead of dwelling on the sadness, he straightened his shoulders, remembering the Marine Corps values his grandfather had lived by. These values, passed down through stories and old photographs, propelled him forward. Logan woke up extra early that day. Every detail of his appearance had to be just right. He chose to wear the suit his mother had helped him buy, simple but professional. It was far from fancy, but like everything his mother had done to support him since he came home, it meant the world to him. The position he aimed for was security coordinator at Harrington Protection Services, working under Mr. Harrington, a no-nonsense CEO known throughout the industry for running a tight ship. The job wasn't glamorous, but it offered the kind of stability Logan needed. Working with a professional security team was a step toward the independent life he hoped for after the military. Before he left, he glanced at the photo of his grandfather in Marine dress blues on his dresser. He felt a wave of sadness as he looked down at the Marine Corps ring his grandfather had worn. It wasn't just a ring, it was a reminder of his grandfather's service, sacrifice, and legacy. Logan wanted to honor that legacy. Semper Fi, the inscription inside the ring read, a phrase that had always given him quiet strength. In the waiting room, Logan sat surrounded by unfamiliar faces. The other candidates all seemed confident, their portfolios neatly under their arms. Logan couldn't help but feel out of place. Everyone else appeared to have more civilian experience and spoke fluently in corporate security lingo he barely understood. He caught a glimpse of himself in the reflective glass wall. His military haircut and upright posture made him stand out among the other candidates in their polished business attire. Self-doubt crept in, and he found himself nervously turning his grandfather's ring around his finger, a habit he'd developed since coming home. One by one, the candidates were called in. Each time the door opened, Logan caught a glimpse of the formal, tense atmosphere inside. When his name was finally called, he took a deep breath, stood at attention instinctively, then quickly relaxed. Mr. Harrington's office was much larger than expected, its walls covered in military memorabilia. A Marine Corps flag hung behind the desk. Logan was taken aback, staring at the items around the room. When the CEO, an older man in his 70s, extended his hand, Logan shook it firmly, noticing the caluses, a sign of someone who had done real work. As the interview began, Logan's initial tension began to ease. Mr. Harrington was direct but fair. Logan's honesty seemed to work in his favor. He spoke about his desire to apply his military experience to civilian security, his willingness to work his way up, and his strong work ethic. Though he lacked the corporate polish of other candidates, his sincerity made him stand out. As the interview wrapped up, Mr. Harrington, who wasn't known for sentimentality, suddenly paused, his gaze fixed on Logan's ring. He began slowly, "I haven't seen one like that since '68. Where did you get it?" Caught off guard, Logan replied, "It was my grandfather's, sir. My dad passed it down to me. He always told me stories about my grandfather, even though I never got to meet him. He was a Marine, 3rd Battalion, Vietnam. He never came home. Mr. Harrington leaned forward. Mind if I see it closer? Logan hesitated, then slipped the ring off and handed it to him. Mr. Harrington turned it over in his hands. His expression shifted from curiosity to disbelief. After a long pause, he opened his desk drawer and pulled out a worn ring, nearly identical to Logan's. With trembling hands, he held the two rings side by side. The Marine Corps emblems matched perfectly. When he turned them over, Logan saw they shared the same unit number engraved inside. 3rd Battalion, Charlie Company, Mr. Harrington said, his voice unsteady. Your grandfather was Samuel Blake. Logan nodded, barely able to speak. Yes, sir. Did you know him? Mr. Harrington stood slowly, walking toward the flag behind his desk. Know him? Your grandfather saved my life in '68. He was my platoon leader. The night we lost him, he made sure everyone else got out first. That's just who he was. The truth hit Logan like a ton of bricks. Finally, answers. The ring on his finger suddenly felt heavier, its meaning clearer than ever before. Mr. Harrington, fighting back tears, shared stories of Samuel Blake, the young Marine lieutenant whose spirit Logan had embodied without ever knowing. They spoke of Samuel's leadership, his courage, and how the men would have followed him anywhere. We all wore these rings, Mr. Harrington explained. It made us feel connected, like brothers. Your grandfather was wearing the last night when they brought him home. I made sure his ring made it back to your mother. Logan listened, captivated, and in turn shared what little he knew, just fragments from his mother's stories and old photos. Pictures on his phone brought some of those stories to life, and with each one, Mr. Harrington's eyes lit up. You look just like him, he said softly. Same way of carrying yourself. Even the way you sat during the interview. It reminded me so much of Samuel. A lump formed in Logan's throat. He hadn't realized how much he had longed for this connection until now. It felt surreal, like something he had always needed to know. And at the same time, it felt comforting, like a missing piece falling into place. The rest of the day flew by. The job interview no longer mattered. What took center stage was this unexpected, life-changing discovery. Veteran and former commanders spent hours sharing stories, filling in the gaps of the past. There was sadness for what had been lost, but also deep joy in the connection they'd found. Mr. Harrington insisted on sharing more about the unit, pulling out old photographs from his drawer. Your grandfather was there when my first son was born, he said, holding up a yellowed photo of young men in uniform. He made sure I got emergency leave and covered my duties himself. Logan paused, overwhelmed, taking it all in. I had no idea, he said quietly. It was a lot to take in, but it felt meaningful, like he was finally piecing together a more complete image of the man his grandfather had been. Over the next few weeks, as Logan settled comfortably into his new role, everything just seemed to click. Deep down, he felt like this was where he was always meant to be. He believed, without a doubt, that his grandfather was still guiding him. The ring, once a symbol of sacrifice, had unexpectedly linked him to someone from his grandfather's past. That man, Mr. Harrington, had once been helped by Logan's grandfather. Now, years later, Harrington had the chance to return the favor by supporting Logan in turn. Today, Logan leads the Veteran Recruitment Initiative at Harrington Protection Services. 2 Marine Corps rings sit proudly on display in the lobby side by side. Beneath them, a modest plaque reads Semper Fi. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Mr. Harrington still shares the story with anyone who'll listen, how Lieutenant Samuel Blake's grandson is carrying forward a legacy of honor and leadership. And to Logan, that ring on his finger continues to echo with purpose. What are your thoughts on this story? I'd love to hear your opinions, so please share them in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories. Stay tuned for our upcoming content. See you in the next video.